the lonely mansion. The mahogany doors of Sterling Manor, each weighing more than a small car, swung inward silently, ushering Mr. Reginald Sterling into the cavernous foyer. His polished shoes barely echoed on the imported marble as he traversed the expanse. Dinner, a meticulously prepared sourmeniere, had been consumed in the vast dining hall, a solitary figure at the head of a table set for 20. Another evening, another perfectly orchestrated silence. Reginald paused by the grand staircase, his gaze sweeping over the priceless artwork adorning the walls, the glint of crystal chandeliers overhead. He possessed everything money could buy, yet the emptiness that settled around him each night was a constant, unwelcome companion. Business associates, charity board members, distant relatives, they all circled, drawn by the gravitational pull of his immense fortune. But genuine connection? A shared love devoid of ulterior motives? Those were luxuries even his billions couldn't procure. Later, in his private study, the only sounds were the soft crackle of the fireplace and the rhythmic tick of an antique grandfather clock. He sank into a plush leather armchair, a half-read financial report resting unopened on his lap. He'd seen countless smiles, heard endless flattery, but he was a keen observer. He could discern the glint of avarice behind polite pleasantries, the calculated warmth designed to impress. He was tired of it. He craved authenticity, a spirit unburdened by his financial standing. He yearned for someone who saw Reginald, not the Sterling Enterprises CEO. A bold thought, a risky one, began to coalesce in his mind. He would devise a test, a way to peel back the layers of pretense. A way to find sincerity amidst the clamor for his riches. The quiet mansion, usually a source of poignant solitude, became the silent crucible for his audacious plan. The unusual test. Tiffany's sparkle. The sleek, silver envelope felt cool against Tiffany Dubois' manicured fingers. She tore it open with an almost surgical precision, revealing the obsidian glint of the credit card within. A gasp, theatrical and delighted, escaped her lips. Finally, she purred, admiring the engraved name. Her chauffeur, a silent fixture in her life, already had the Bentley idling. Her first stop was Cartier. Not a moment wasted. Mr. Sterling, watching via a discreet live stream, saw her glide through the polished doors. Within an hour, a dazzling diamond necklace, its facets catching the showroom lights, adorned her neck. Next, a boutique on Fifth Avenue where a crimson designer gown, impossibly expensive, practically flew off the rack and into her waiting arms. The grand finale, a shimmering sapphire blue Maserati, its engine a low growl, replacing the Bentley in her immediate affections. Tiffany drove off, a blur of expensive perfume and unbridled glee. Sterling leaned back in his leather chair, a sigh escaping him. The screens in his office flickered with the escalating totals. He'd hoped for something, anything, beyond the immediate gratification. A charity donation, perhaps a new business venture. Instead, a familiar narrative unfolded: acquisition, display, repeat. The sparkle, it seemed, was purely external. His initial excitement, a faint flicker of optimism, began to dim, confirming his long-held suspicions about human nature's predictable leanings towards self-indulgence. Brenda's empire and Chloe's canvas. Brenda, efficient as ever, wasted no time. The sleek black card glinted as she swiped it at the county clerk's office. "Expansion permits for Sterling Gardens Catering, please," she announced, her voice firm. Moments later, she was negotiating the purchase of a commercial kitchen space, a long-held dream now within reach. Her empire, built on meticulous planning and a keen business sense, was poised for its next leap. Mr. Sterling, watching from a discreet distance, noted the satisfaction etched on her face, a satisfaction rooted deeply in ambition. Across town, Chloe's world exploded with color. The art supply store owner blinked at the sheer volume of her purchases, canvases of every conceivable size, tubes of oil paint in hues he'd never stocked, brushes like delicate extensions of a dreaming mind. "And the studio space, madam?" the realtor inquired, keys jingling. Chloe's smile was radiant, a genuine expression of pure, unadulterated joy. The spacious loft, bathed in natural light, would be her sanctuary, her canvas for stories yet untold. Mr. Sterling observed the unfolding scenes, a familiar ache settling in his chest. Brenda's astute investments, Chloe's passionate acquisitions, both fueled deeply personal aspirations. He saw the gleam in Brenda's eye as she envisioned profit margins, the childlike wonder in Chloe's as she imagined her first brushstroke. Yet, the pattern remained consistent, the focus, sharp and unwavering, was on themselves. His hope, a fragile thing, seemed to shrink with each transaction. The generosity he offered, it seemed, was merely serving as a catalyst for individual desires. He sighed, the weight of his expectations pressing down. A familiar disappointment. The crisp hum of the server room was Mr. Sterling's constant companion as he reviewed the digital ledgers. Tiffany's report glowed a vibrant red, designer handbags, bespoke jewelry, a weekend retreat in Monaco. Brenda's was a kaleidoscope of high-end gadgets, exclusive club memberships, and an alarming number of luxury car rentals. Chloe's, though slightly less ostentatious, still painted a picture of self-indulgence, spa treatments, boutique clothing, and extravagant dining experiences. He leaned back, the leather of his chair groaning softly in protest, a familiar ache settling in his chest. "Another round of predictable choices," he murmured to the empty room. He'd hoped, against all rational thought, that one of them might surprise him, might show a flicker of genuine consideration beyond their own immediate gratification. But no. The patterns were etched deep, the same superficial desires manifesting in different forms. He'd lived a life defined by such transactions, by the hollow pursuit of status and fleeting pleasure. His wealth, once a source of comfort, now felt like a gilded cage, isolating him from true connection. He stared out the panoramic window at the twinkling city lights, each one a distant, unfeeling eye. Was this to be his fate, forever observing, forever alone in his opulent solitude? The thought of continuing this charade, this endless audition for sincerity, felt unbearable. He closed his eyes, a profound weariness seeping into his bones. The hope he'd clung to, that fragile ember, seemed on the verge of extinguishing altogether. Maria's turn. Maria Rodriguez, her sensible shoes squeaking faintly on the linoleum, shelved a written copy of Moby Dick. Her small apartment above the laundromat was a testament to frugal living, filled with well-loved books and the scent of brewing chamomile tea. Today, an unfamiliar man, Mr. Sterling, approached her desk, his expensive suit a stark contrast to the library's worn charm. He offered her a sleek, black credit card. "Unlimited," he stated, his voice devoid of inflection. "For 24 hours. Spend as you wish." Maria's brow furrowed, a tiny wrinkle appearing between her kind eyes. She didn't gasp or exclaim. Instead, her gaze swept over the library's cheap paint, the outdated computer terminals, then settled on the small, worn-out shoes peeking from beneath a child's wheelchair near the entrance. Her fingers, usually stained with ink or flour, traced the smooth plastic of the card. 24 hours, she murmured, more to herself than to him. "And anything?" Mr. Sterling watched, a familiar ennui settling in, though a sliver of curiosity remained. He'd seen the avarice in the first tree. But Maria, with her quiet intelligence, was different. She wasn't looking at designer handbags or sports cars in her mind's eye. Her thoughtful silence hummed with a different kind of calculation, a quiet assessment of needs far beyond her own. A faint smile touched her lips, less of delight and more of a subtle, blossoming plan. The unexpected bill. Days bled into a week, each sunrise painting Mr. Sterling's gilded study with a nervous anticipation he hadn't felt in years. He'd found himself checking his email more frequently, a slight frown creasing his brow with every empty inbox. The suspense was a strange companion. A part of him dreaded the inevitable, yet another part, the philanthropist buried beneath layers of corporate steel, yearned for a surprise. He'd given Maria a substantial sum, enough to make a significant dent in any personal wish list. Then, one Tuesday morning, the notification chimed. Statement, Sterling Holdings, Platinum account. He clicked it open, his finger hovering over the scroll bar, half expecting designer brands or luxury travel. His eyes scanned the first few lines, a familiar ennui settling in. But then, a name jumped out, Riverbend Community Outreach. He blinked, scrolling down. Another, Willow Creek Food Bank. A double-take turned into a bewildered stare. Groceries, yes, but purchased in bulk from a discount supplier, followed by receipts for school supplies, children's clothing, and even a modest donation to a local animal shelter. There wasn't a single personal indulgence, not one item that suggested even a moment of self-interest. Mr. Sterling leaned back, a slow, unbidden smile spreading across his face. Maria hadn't bought herself a single thing. A golden heart revealed. Mr. Sterling's fingers paused over the stack of receipts. His initial cynicism, a well-worn coat, began to fray at the edges. The first invoice was for a local orphanage, a dozen sturdy winter coats, sizes carefully noted. Next, a substantial order for the town library, children's picture books, teen fiction, and several reference volumes. His brow furrowed in surprise. Then, bags of specialized feed for the animal shelter, followed by a surprisingly detailed bill for lumber and paint, earmarked for the dilapidated community center's playground. Not a single designer scarf, no opulent jewelry, no lavish spa treatments. Nothing for herself. A slow, unexpected warmth spread through Mr. Sterling. He leaned back, the leather of his chair creaking softly. He'd expected indulgence, perhaps even a calculated gesture of charity designed to impress him. Instead, Maria had quietly, efficiently, and without fanfare, addressed tangible needs within the community. Her choices spoke volumes, a narrative of selfless devotion etched in ink on ordinary paper. He pictured her quiet smile, the unpretentious way she carried herself. The test, he realized, wasn't about what she would buy, but what she valued. And Maria, with her golden heart laid bare in these humble transactions, valued others above all else. His jaded heart, long accustomed to artifice, felt a stirring of genuine hope. A new beginning. Reginald discovered Maria among the verdant rows of her community garden, nestled behind her unpretentious home. The rich aroma of damp earth mingled with the promise of ripening tomatoes. Maria, he began, his voice a surprising bomb. I'm truly at a loss for words. Your generosity with the credit card, it resonated deeply. He observed her, a quiet strength radiating as she delicately pruned a vine. Maria straightened, a faint flush coloring her cheeks. Mr. Sterling, it was hardly anything. Simply what was required. Those families, they needed assistance, plain and simple. She swept a hand toward the orderly garden beds, where children already frolicked nearby. This plot, it's just one extension of that belief. Everyone merits an opportunity. A profound internal shift stirred in Reginald, a thawing of ingrained cynicism. You perceive the world through a unique lens, Maria. Not merely problems, but inherent solutions. Not isolated individuals, but an interconnected community. I've lived, quite isolated, for an extended period, despite all my resources. He paused, carefully articulating his thoughts. I want to contribute. Not through impersonal donations, but alongside you. To support your vision. Let me join you in this endeavor, in truly revitalizing this town. Maria's eyes, clear and warm, met his. A genuine smile brightened her features. Mr. Sterling, that would be magnificent. There's so much more we could achieve. His grand house, once a bastion of solitude, now seemed less formidable. In her offered hand, he perceived not a plea for charity, but an invitation to shared purpose. The pervasive loneliness that had long shadowed him began to recede, replaced by the nascent stirrings of a collaborative future.